Hiya! Welcome! So I'm intending this video not to be too long, even though I've got, what is it, 6 albums, or is it 7 to show you? I can't remember. 2 mail openings to do, and I don't expect this video to last too long because there's not an awful lot I can say about any of these albums because they're all by a band, and you know who I'm referring to due to the title of the video, etc., that I've only just started collecting. You'll have seen in the last records roundup last month that I got 3 Within Temptation albums. The main one that I was excited about getting, and the first one that I ordered, was the Q Music Sessions cover versions album that they released originally in I think 2013, and it got a vinyl reissue about 11 years later. Enjoyed that, enjoyed the other 2 studio albums that I got, their first one Enter and their most recent one Bleed Out, so that means there's a whole lot of collection holes to fill if I wanted to get anywhere resembling a complete studio albums collection from Within Temptation. So that's the object of today's video. 2 mail openings to do. The first mail opening here is from a website in Slovenia, and I had to use these. Well, I didn't have to, but if I wanted this album, for some reason this was the one album that wasn't available at Within Temptation's online store. So whether it's been deleted by Music on Vinyl, who are the company who are basically pressing all of Within Temptation's physical releases, I'm not sure. I imagine they'll reissue it again eventually, but the price of this from a site called On Parole was around €40, and that included postage and a little bit of taxes, so that wasn't too bad really. Let's get this open. So these are not going to be in any particular order that I'm showing you, and I can't really say an awful lot about any of them because this is a group who, while I've been familiar with them on a very slight level for years, I've only now started listening to their full recordings properly. I saw the seller On Parole on Discogs initially, and then I saw that they had a website, so I ordered direct from the website. Interestingly, not the first record from Slovenia I've ever bought, because I've bought certain Lieback albums direct from their Slovenian web store. So chuck that out of the way, and this is the album here, The Unforgiving. Now, the only thing I can tell you about this, besides the fact for some reason there wasn't a copy for sale at the official Within Temptation web store, but what I can tell you is a song I really love is on this album, Sinead. It is the 4th track on side B of LP1. I don't think this is coloured vinyl, so I'm not going to start opening all these just to show you black vinyl, just to keep this video moving along fairly promptly. This is basically just some housekeeping really, this video, me showing you all these Within Temptation albums I've added to the collection. So thank you to On Parole, I still think that's a strange name. Thank you to them for The Unforgiving. So you'll be unsurprised to learn that the rest of the haul today is from the Within Temptation web store. This came a few days ago. Been holding on to it until the delivery from Slovenia arrived as well. These were from the Netherlands, by the way, came via FedEx, I believe, pretty quickly as well. No extra taxes to pay because I think they were all included in the price when I checked out on the web store. Of course, fulfilled by Music on Vinyl, so I'm just figuring out what's the best way of opening this. I think it's just give it a good tear really. So as I say, I've forgotten exactly how many's in here. It's either 5 or 6, and I don't know if these are going to be in any order of when they were originally released or when they were reissued, as most of these I think are reissues rather than the original LPs that came out in the original year of release. But I'm going to take these from the top. Any WT fans who are watching who want to fill in some gaps for my massive lack of knowledge here, and I admit that, you know, it's a band I'm just getting into and I've got lots to discover. So first one on top of this pile, I'll just quickly count how many there is. Yeah, there's 5 in there, so 6 albums altogether, but 5 from the WT store. First one is Resist. Now this is quite an unusual one to say it's from Music on Vinyl, because it's not got the familiar Music on Vinyl hype sticker on it. It does have a little hype there, and I'm pretty sure this is still an MOV release. I'm looking at the copyright and legal stuff down at the bottom. I'm going to have to put my glasses on for it. I mean, it's got Universal Music Group logo on it, so perhaps this was handled by them. I think this was their album that came before Bleed Out. So I can't see any Music on Vinyl labelling on here, but it was them who would have sent this to me, so they're obviously allowed to sell this even if they didn't manufacture it. So there's Resist. It's black vinyl, by the way, so anything that is coloured I will show you in more detail, but I wanted to keep this video relatively snappy. Then we have the heart of everything. So I don't know what order these really should be going in. I can't remember if this is before The Unforgiving or after. I'll learn as I'm filing these on Discogs and listening to them, etc. Because I do like things to be in a chronological order. It's another 2 LP set. This one, of course, does have the familiar Music on Vinyl hype sticker over the adhesive protector. What does it say? It's got a booklet with lyrics, 4 bonus tracks, so it's an expanded edition this, but it is a black vinyl 180 gram audiophile version once again. I do like the cover for that as well. Then we have The Silent Force. So I was a little worried about ordering this on the WT site, simply because although it was listed as The Silent Force, the stock image they used on the site was for the associated live album Silent Force Tour or something like that. So I was worried that even though there was a separate listing for that live album, because they'd used the wrong picture, I was worried I was going to get the wrong album. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. It would have just meant I would have started a live collection for Within Temptation earlier than intended. It's just a 1 LP edition this, and once again it's just black vinyl. They have sent me the right one and I'm pleased about that. As for the live albums, because they're a very consistent group for releasing live material Within Temptation, I mean, I'm expecting I'm gonna love all of this stuff, and if I do want a really deep dive, then yeah, the live stuff is basically what's left, to be honest. But I don't want to say that I've made a decision one way or the other on that yet. I'm going to listen to this, enjoy these albums, the proper studio albums, and if I fancy getting some live stuff, preferably if it's on reduction anywhere, then maybe you'll see some of that in the future. And this has got another of my favourite Within Temptation songs on it, Angels. Brilliant song that. That is track 1 on side 2. Penultimate one, I think this is the only one that is coloured vinyl actually, so I will show you this in a little more detail. It's the 10th anniversary edition of Hydra. So it's an expanded edition over 2 albums. The colours are classed as clear and marbled black, and it's got 8 bonus tracks, and it's a limited edition of just 1,500. Can I see my number? Yes, my number on the back here is 1,270. So I will get this one out and give you a closer look. I don't think I've heard anything on here. Feels nice. It's got that sort of book style feel to it. And it is of course also a gatefold. The beautiful Sharon Den Adel there. And the other chaps, who I'm sure you could consider good looking in their own right if you were that way inclined. I'm going to stop that there. Right, I'll just get one of these discs out because they both got to look the same, I think. Yeah, that's very nice. It's clear and it's got black marbling in it, basically. On camera, it's kind of looking a little bit... The word I had in mind was vinegary, which is a weird thing. I'm not saying this is particularly the same colour as malt vinegar. It was just the first image that got conjured up in my head, but that probably says more about how my brain works than anything else. But very nice nonetheless. Could I have got any of this stuff on coloured vinyl elsewhere? I think so, but it was easier just to get the bulk of it from the official web store. I didn't really care what the colour of the records were, as long as I got the albums. Some of the colour variants that I was looking up on Discogs are quite old now. Not old, but old enough to have been deleted, and then flippers are selling them for a lot on the aftermarket. So I'm happy with the black vinyl editions, but this one is not black and it's still widely available at a reasonable price. Did I even tell you the full total for this order? It was a lot because it's 5 albums worth, but I think it was about, after conversion from euros, £150, maybe just a bit over, which when you include, that's at least a tenner in postage, and they're probably adding taxes before that as well. I don't think that's too bad for 5 brand new and sealed albums, many of them 2 LP versions as well. Okay, so the final Within Temptation album to show you today is what I believe is their second studio album, the follow-up to Enter, and this one is Mother Earth. So this has been reissued a bunch of times. This version here, which is the standard, most recent black vinyl reissue, seems to be the cheapest, knocking round everywhere. Certainly was at the web store. I don't think I've heard anything on here. As I say, apart from Sinead and Angels, and then everything else that I've listened to since the last Records Roundup, that's where my Within Temptation expertise begins and ends, really. Nice striking cover there. I do love the album artwork. There is an associated live album that came out for the Mother Earth tour as well, that I've seen going for a good price. So if I do decide to collect the live stuff, then that might be a good first one to go for, as that one seems to be reduced in 1 or 2 places. But anyway, there we go. That's all the Within Temptation albums. So I've got a full Within Temptation studio album collection now, and I'm delighted about it because I really loved the Q Music sessions, Enter and Bleed Out, and I'm sure I'm going to love the majority of what I've got here today. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this relatively short, for my unboxing / mail opening standards, it was short anyway. And I want to say special thanks to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now. What else but listen to some Within Temptation? Got plenty to listen to, and I'm going to have an absolute whale of a time doing so. And I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next record and music collecting video. Cheers, everyone. See ya.